Hi, this is Scott Schrader, and I'd like to talk today about a section out of Parashah VaYiggash, and this is in Genesis 45, 4 through 8, and it has to do with circumstances, particularly Joseph's circumstance, and how that would relate to us in our circumstances in life. I think there's a lesson here for us. Joseph came to the realization after this time his brothers had come to him, and after everything happened and he had reconciled with his brothers, he comes to the realization that God was in this the whole time. He probably had some recollection of that before, but this was I think a divine moment for him where he really got it, and he realized that God had sent him uh, to Egypt, and all that he had gone through had come from the Lord and had a purpose behind it. And he said that God had sent him before them so that they would survive, so the family would survive. Um, these circumstances that he went through made him a different man. He was young. And he was either naive or arrogant. I'm not sure which. When he told his brothers and his father about the dreams, um, he certainly changed after this time from being that person who was out there kind of bragging about who they were and what they could do and what God had done for them, where he was almost kind of subdued about it. And God started opening the doors. He wasn't trying to generate something or to do something. God started doing something. Um, and so he was tested in the house of Potiphar, or as he's often called, Potiphar, and he had done well there. God had prospered him. Potiphar, he promoted him, and then Potiphar's wife, sometimes who's believed to be named Potipharah, and we see that Joseph married or was given in marriage the son of Potipharah. So this could have been actually her daughter that he eventually married after all this situation. Um, and had his two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, through Potipharah's daughter. But in any case, he's tempted. She accuses him of doing what actually she was doing to him, trying to seduce him, and he's run off and he's thrown in prison, and this looks like a bad circumstance. But then on the other side of that, he's put in a place where he ministers to a couple people, and one of them goes back to the Pharaoh, and through that connection with the Pharaoh and his dreams and interpretations, he's able to then go to Pharaoh and be exalted to become the second most powerful person in the world, you know, arguably the second most powerful person in the world. So, and this, he brought him to that place where he would have food and his family would have food and they would have a place to live and they would prosper until that time that they had to be delivered out of Egypt. But this was a time for them to survive, and this helped them to survive. And so Joseph realized God did all of this. He brought me into this place. He made these connections. He sent me here as an ambassador of him so that we would be saved. And I believe it was a witness also to Egypt that Joseph was sent there. Now, when we look at this word sent, shaliach, and this is the word in Hebrew, the word for apostle or shaliach, one sent, an ambassador. We kind of get an idea of the word. There's a provision that's made in a controlling of the flow or a shepherding. So God is the one who shepherds our sending, and he makes some type of provision when he sends us. Now, it didn't look like that for Joseph, that there was some type of provision, but there was. In fact, when he went there, God used him, and God prospered whatever he did to bring him into that place that he had sent him to be that ambassador for. And it has the idea of intimacy behind the tent wall. So there's like the secret counsel or this counsel that this person that's sent brings. And he did that in the dreams for Pharaoh. He saved Egypt, the whole nation of Egypt, basically from a drastic situation that they would have encountered. And through Egypt, basically most of the whole Middle East there uh, profited from that because they were able to get food from Egypt. So God sent him as his ambassador. Um, he was his shliach. So he was. There's a lesson here for us. And this lesson is that God works everything to the good to those that love God and are called according to his purposes. So we have circumstances in our life that don't look good. I've had circumstances in my life that was not a good thing that happened, but God used it for good for me. He used it for me. And so I'm just encouraging you too that he will use that for you too. It says if we trust in him with all of our heart and lean on to our own understanding, Proverbs 3:5-8, and we acknowledge him in all our ways, he will direct our paths. So you might be in a circumstance right now, and it may not look that good, but if you trust the Lord, if you acknowledge him, if you put this in his hands, this circumstance, if you ask him to help you and give you direction, he will direct you. He will show you the way, and he'll show you that way of escape that he's promised to give you.